Well, good morning, everybody. It's the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine, and qualifying brings us back again to Paul Ricard. Racing action yet again for round 6 of this championship, and already the temperature's starting to creep up this morning. We came in at around 20 degrees first thing. It is now 26 in the air as well, and as the temperature starts to rise in the air, as does the temperature in terms of the fight out on track. Martini Stenshorn is looking to fight again against his rival Andrea Kimi Antonelli as these two fight for the championship, but many other drivers part of this contingent too. Tim Tramnitz also in the fight, Kaz Havercourt as well, one to watch for Van Amersfoort Racing as well. But now as the drivers make their way out, Group A, the first to set their times out on the grid. And just a rundown for those of you who are unfamiliar with the format for this championship. Obviously, two groups make up obviously the qualifying sessions. Group A tend to go out first on the first qualifying session, with Group B coming up afterwards. These groups are divvied up by their positions in the drivers' standings. So you have the man, for example, in P1, which is Martini Stenshorn, the man in P3, P5, and so on. They'll make up Group A, and then the alternatives then in P2, P4, and onwards, they of course make up Group B later on. And of course, the fastest driver, therefore, that does go fastest across both groups will be on pole position. His group will line up behind him on the same row of the grid. That's how it's decided. That's how the grid format works. And now these cars are going to look to go again, this time here at Paul Ricard. And going back to that championship fight, what a stellar running it has been, certainly for Martini Stenshorn. Looking to come back and continue his phenomenal form, taking an incredible 2 podiums last time out, taking a race win at Mugello in race 1, following that up with a blistering 3rd place as well as he came across the line at Mugello. Of course, Andrea Kimi Antonelli taking that race 2 victory. The Italian also looking to launch a charge upon that of Martini Stenshorn, but the gap separating the two front drivers a mere 2 points. That is all that's at stake. 2 solitary points separating the front 2 drivers in this championship. Who's it going to be when we head down towards the final round? A long journey still awaits. Paul Ricard, yet another chapter soon to reach as well. Red Bull Ring, Monza, Zandvoort to finish at Hockenheim for the very first time in the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine, and we're looking forward to gracing it with our presence, to say the least. As we now see the cars make their way around once again, plenty of opportunities. We just saw Josh Dufek making his way around the next right-hander. Great to have as well the MP Motorsport team back with us as well for this round at Paul Ricard. They of course missed Mugello for obvious reasons really. As many of you heard, the tragedy around Delano Van 't Hoff back in Spa-Francorchamps. They had his funeral service last week, and the team as a result didn't want to go into action until they had the funeral and everything, which you can utterly respect. And obviously our hearts still reign alongside that of the MP team and the family of that of Delano Van 't Hoff as well. He is certainly with us in spirit, to say the least. And MP Motorsport, you might have noticed a change on front nose cones as well. They've adopted the black nose cone colour in terms of remembering Delano Van 't Hoff. It's a token to his service to the team, but also at the same time a memory of a great friend as well, and they will harness those black nose cones right through to the end of the season at the very least as well. As we're now seeing out on track, Rafael Camara also making his way through. Now this was a man who was superb in qualifying back at Mugello as well. Of course, Prema have a very, very good lineup here this weekend. Of course, Antonelli being part of that championship fight. Rafael Camara also in the mix and is finding improvements time and time again. Very confident. We spoke to him briefly during the Paddock Live broadcast. You might have caught that live on Instagram. Make sure you check out the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine socials to see that. We, of course, preview the weekend as it goes through. And he certainly is confident. He's ready for the weekend. The team are backing him 100%, as they always do. And alongside that of Andrea Kimi Antonelli and that of Lorenzo Fluscia, they certainly have a lineup that certainly can't be trifled with, and obviously still in the fight for that team's championship as well as their own drivers' championships as well. RHGP, though, coming in on a home weekend, they're going to be looking to try and harness certainly the top time at their home track, that's for sure. Currently at the top end, though, is Giovanni Maschio, who's enlisted the fastest time so far, a 2:15.306. We had 2 collective tests over the weekend, and Esteban Masson going fastest of all in collective test 2, ahead of that of Sami Megatunif and Kaz Havercourt. Different story, though, in collective test 1, which would be the RP RPM Motorsport story, because Santiago Ramos managing to take the top time with a 1:59.744. Kaz Havercourt would go second fastest for Van Amersfoort. Consistent performances from Kaz Havercourt in practice, only a mere just under 3.5 tenths away from Santiago Ramos, who currently sits P1. Maceo Capietto in third as well, also for RPM, as they look to push onwards and upwards in their quest for greater points. Currently sat P4 in the team's championship as well. But there we can see as well, making his way around the track, Roman Belinsky, who is in fact, he really enjoys this circuit. Was a rookie race winner here last season, and it was his very first rookie race win in Formula Regional competition. And he was absolutely thrilled with that. We spoke to him about it as well prior to heading into the weekend, obviously speaking to him during the Paddock Live broadcast, and he was under no illusions. Obviously the team has worked so hard, and they really have tried to build an impressive ratio of results, and certainly no less Belinsky is going to look to try and push for greater. And obviously as part of this contingent, 12th fastest currently out on the classification tower. Many more looking for improvements. Esteban Masson going fastest over the 2:07.247. And Victor Bernier for MP Motorsport on his return to the championship this week. And goes second fastest as well with a 2:09.416. Has already gone purple though in the first sector. Kirill Small also finding time too. He's just gone purple in the second sector. Of course, Monolite Racing chasing their first points of the championship. Just hear a squeal of the tyres as well. The drivers testing the track limits here at Paul Ricard, as they so often do. You do have to watch out for turn 10 as well at Seam Corner. It can certainly cause an issue for many. There's no Kirill Small, again showing that fast pace that he certainly can harness. Masson though up at the top end. Already, as I said, purple in the second sector, but it has been stolen by Josh Dufek, who certainly not to be trifled with, a very tenacious performer who's also improving time after time. You know, see the cars exit their way, heading down the long straight. 5 minutes and 40 still to go. Enough time for a couple more laps as well. Josh Dufek will be coming through. Kirill Small going fastest with a 2-minute flat. Giovanni Maschio now reduced to second. Esteban Masson third fastest. Maschio finding a little bit of time with that purple third sector there for Kirill Small, giving him that 2:00.923. Improvements as well for Tim Tramnitz as he goes purple as well in the second sector. As the cars now make their way through the latter stages, there you see the Prema as well making its way through Van Amersfoort as well, heading on through too. Josh Dufek will be part of that. He goes third fastest in fact as well, as we now see more cars come forward. Rafael Kamara fourth fastest as well. Maya Verk going sixth fastest for Kick Motorsport. Enzo Shanti now seventh, with Ivan Klemenko, of course, his first race weekend here, of course replacing that of Alexander Partyshev, who's in fact retired from racing altogether. Klemenko now steps in for his friend, of course fellow Ukrainian, who is now part of this contingent as well. 8th fastest for him, and third place rookie in this particular standing here in Group A. Just been reduced to fourth in fact, as Martinius Stenshorn goes fourth fastest, but now fifth as Tim Tramnitz goes third fastest. Esteban Masson already now taking the purple first sector. Tramnitz still purple in the second, but Masson showed impressive pace in yesterday's collective test 2. Went faster than Sami Megatunif and out of Kaz Havercourt as well, so it does hold some pace around here, and certainly in a home race such as this, it could prove vital. You know, see Masson now making his way through this next right. Sandslock have every reason to be excited about this young man. You know, makes his way through towards the Voussay section, and he'll head towards the Barrage de Bendor as well. Again, could be very, very tight in terms of limits, but you want to be on the limit. He pushes hard. Very nice angle, certainly heading through that section. Garlaban corner now coming up next, rumbles over the curbs. As he makes his way, attacking every apex he can find. As he makes his way down towards the Virage de la Tour as well. 2 corners remain. Already 2 drivers improving massively. Rafael Kamara purple in the second sector again. Stenshorn purple in the first. Not quite purple though in the second sector. Kamara does have his number in that section, at least for now on this lap. As now they come up towards the line now. There's Masson in the distance. He makes his way across and does go fastest as well. Jumps Victor Bernier, but Bernier instantly taking it back after a stellar final sector of 49.888. And Kamara now jumps up to second as well to leapfrog that of Masson. Maya Verk goes fourth fastest for Kick Motorsport as well. A sensational showing from her as well. One of the feel-good factors was unlucky at Hungaroring, had a fire extinguisher issue that went off in the car, and unfortunately it meant she had to bring the car into the gravel trap. It cost her her visibility at that point. She came into the gravel trap and retired from the race, but instantly coming back. Fourth fastest, now reduced to fifth now, is Stenshorn goes second fastest as well. Purple in the first sector. Improvements in sector 2 and 3 is Tim Tramnitz now fastest here at this point too. The time starting to rumble inwards. And despite not setting a single purple sector in sectors 1, 2 or 3, Tim Tramnitz, just for the sheer consistency around the lap, first fastest. Victor Bernier now goes second fastest as well, ahead of that of Martinia Stenshorn. Kamara fourth, Tangavelu now creeps into fifth place as well. Incredible showing, but a 1:59.554 there from Tim Tramnitz. And looking to try and bring back his best form, of course, a double race winner at Barcelona, where he was lined up alongside that of Andrea Kimi Antonelli in both races, but was able to hold back the Italian on both occasions. Antonelli, of course, getting into winning form himself as well after taking a home race win at Mugello. And I don't think he is anywhere near done yet. But Tramnitz doing a stellar job. 19 thousandths is all that separates him and Tramnitz. The top three separated by a mere 30 thousandths of a second just in behind. And then you've got a gap then to Rafael Kamara, who currently sits in fourth. Incredible, to say the least. And fastest in the speed trap, which is at the end of the home straight for Rafael Kamara as well. A 2:34.2 up at the sharp end. As we now see the cars, they make their way through once again, obviously coming down towards the final minute of Group A session. And then Group B will be up next after this lot. Tramnitz looking to try again and marshal together yet another potential pole position if he can. Obviously he's taken 3 already this campaign. Could he make it 4? We'll have to wait and see as he now circles around in RHGP's home race. And certainly to have Tramnitz there in first, Stenshorn in third, certainly in this group does certainly bode well for a good weekend. Stenshorn himself, obviously a very, very class act, very strong performer. Already though, Masson finding purple in the first sector. Could it be a last gasp? Well, last gasp performance here from Esteban Masson to once again take the top time as he did so in that second test session. A 32.692 in sector 1, and there you see it, look, 2 tenths quicker already in sector 1 for Esteban Masson. An incredible gain there in that first sector, and Sansalok Racing here in what can only be described their home race weekend as well, looking to try and push forwards, onwards and upwards, a team you generally see in GT3 classification as well as LMP2. He's just gone 3 tenths faster already now in sector 2. They're making his way through towards Busset, the checkered flag coming down. Esteban Masson, who has just come back, certainly returning to this championship here as well with the Sansalok Racing team, looking oh so racy here at Paul Ricard. They're making his way through towards turn 12 as well, through the Bendor section. Surely not some last-minute heroics from Esteban Masson. I can tell you this, the Martinia Stenshorn has gone purple in the first sector as well. Owen Tangavelu setting the purple lap as well in sector 2. They're all coming through. Masson's times yet to update on my screen here, but in accordance to the telemetry here on our screens, he has taken a purple second sector. Masson now heading through the final corner, now rumbling over the curbs as he now stretches down now towards the start-finish line. Where is Masson going to position himself as he does come across under checkered flag conditions? Second fastest for Esteban Masson, not enough to take the top spot away from Tim Tramnitz. But what about Kamara, who comes up towards the line as well? He's also improving, looking for more. He steps across, he can't quite find enough. Fifth fastest is where he stays. Martinia Stenshorn also improving as well, and he's looking to find that little bit extra after going purple in the first sector as well. Tim Tramnitz also on an improvement lap as well, a 32.8 in the first sector, 36.5 in sector 2. Stenshorn, who is still out and about as we take a look over the crest. There he is now, championship leader, and he's gone, I think he's gone fastest. He has, Martinia Stenshorn, a 1:59.176, puts him on top spot here in Group A, and it's an RHGP 1-2 in Group A as well, here in qualifying 1. A stellar showing here. Owen Tangavelu also improving as well on his run. Is it enough to break higher than 7th? No, it's not. Nikhil Bora goes 7th fastest ahead of him too. Roman Belinsky 9th fastest. fastest. Showed a bit of pace as well on that previous lap, managing to find that little bit extra. An incredible showing though. Martinius Stenshorn saved the best to last. The clock went to 0. The checkered flag came down, and that's when Stenshorn's at his best. And he's managed to marshal in a fantastic 1:59.176. Just over an entire tenth of a second faster than that of his teammate Tim Tramnitz. And this is the final classification, folks, from Group A. It's Martinius Stenshorn, the Norwegian, goes fastest here, the fastest rookie as well. Tim Tramnitz in second, Esteban Masson in third. Impressive return here from him. Victor Bernier in fourth, Rafael Kamara in fifth, Maya Verk in sixth, Nikhil Bora in seventh, Owen Tangavelu in eighth as well, Roman Belinsky ninth, Matthias Sagazeta in 10th, Joshua Dufek 11th, Kirill Small in 12th, Maceo Capietto in 13th, Niels Kulin in 14th, with Giovanni Maschio in 15th place. And then we have the bottom three as well. Giovanni Maschio, Enzo Schonti, Ivan Klemenko in his first start as well for Kick Motorsport at the back end of Group A. So now, next up, we have Group B. And this will be the second half of the championship classification. So they've now got to try and measure up against this man, Martinius Stenshorn. And this will be the battle for the pole positions. Obviously, the 1:59.176 to beat. And that's going to be certainly the litmus test for the Group B's times, and if they can beat that, obviously with Stenshorn currently holding that time, should they not beat that, Stenshorn will be on pole position with his group lining up behind him. But should Group B go faster with their fastest driver that comes out off the back of this qualifying session, then they will be on pole instead. So we'll have to wait and see. Obviously the cars now coming in from Group A as we get ready for the second part of this qualifying session. Group B about to get set to go out again, and that of course will be Andrea Kimi Antonelli, who will be leading that group out. Obviously he is currently second in the championship. As I said, a mere 2 points is all that separates the front two in the championship classification, and it certainly will be an immense fight right to the end. Credit to Tim Tramnitz as well, returning with yet another stellar showing. But again, Martinius Stenshorn is fourth, could be, yes, his fourth pole position this season, has already obtained 3, and 7 podiums already to boot this season, 4 race wins, could soon be 5 after this weekend. We'll have to wait and see, but nevertheless, it's a good place to start, and coming back after a successful run at Mugello. What a year it's been for the young man, and the rookie talent that I'm sure is on the radar for many a great team as well. The cars look to get set and ready again. It's Group B's classification. Matthias Sagazeta now just hopping out of the car, at least for now. Of course, he's part of the RHGP conglomerate as well, as we wait to get Group B underway. The revving of engines, you can hear the cars there going back out, but Stenshorn is now going to watch on. And there is the man in P3. There's Esteban Masson, of course, managing to get himself third fastest in Group A's times. And just ahead of him, Tim Tramnitz, once again returning to the top end, but second fastest in his group, Group A, but making up an RHGP 1-2 in Group A. However, Tramnitz will be starting on the second row of the grid. And there's your fastest man in Group A. That's Martinius Stenshorn, everybody. The big question is, will he be on pole? We'll find out after Group B, but nevertheless, he does obtain a front row spot. So there we are. All Group A cars now under Parc Fermé conditions. It now begins Group B here in qualifying 1. The cars now making their way out, being led by Emerson Fittipaldi Jr. and, of course, fellow Santaloc driver Lucas Medina as well. Santaloc, who improving time and time again, as I alluded to, having Masson deliver that great result already off the back of that P3 in Group A. That will give them that extra, little bit of confidence heading into yet another session. And obviously for the race later on as well, of course, Emerson Fittipaldi Sr., a great talent as well, is going to be pushing on his Emerson Fittipaldi Jr. as well. We see them together time in, time out, every weekend. Could this be a huge weekend for Santaloc Racing? Let's find out, as we now see as well. Kaz Havercourt out on track, the man who would go second fastest in collective test 1 and also third fastest in collective test 2. The man who's no stranger to the race wins in this championship has already scooped up 3 podiums this season. and already one race win as well to boot as well. You definitely figured he'd have a great chance to certainly lay down a foundation. Hasn't won though since Imola in race 2, and that was round 1 of this championship as well. But it's a track that they know and love. They tend to favour the more technical elements of a circuit. Of course, seen them do well at Hungary in the past as well. And again, the final sector here at Paul Ricard might go in their favour. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, quite a few straight line speed sections as well here at Paul Ricard. Obviously, you've got the long Mistral straight heading in towards the middle chicane as well, which will open up a few doors. And obviously, with push to pass at the disposal of many of these drivers, they will be utilising every tool at their disposal in order to try and improve their performance out on track. And of course, let's talk about that push to pass system. Of course, you've got to be in at least 4th gear, have at least 4,000 RPM under your belt as well. They get 5 uses of it, and it lasts for around 15 seconds, and they of course get those 5 different occasions where they can use it. However, in the occurrence of a red flag and a restart, they do get that number reset as well, so they can use it again, even if they've used all 5 prior to the red flag. But hopefully there won't be any need for those at all this weekend. So we're now seeing the cars make their way through now the final corner. There'll be a fight for track position in clean air as they look to get the tyres up to temperature. Charlie Wirtz, we're currently seeing on his return as well, was recovering from illness and made his return at Mugello as well last time out. Great to see him back, and he's looking to try and reclamber his form. Obviously, he's been out the car for a little bit, and we'll be hoping to try and get back to his best form as well. Of course, a winner of many races, and is with a great team as well for this season. He's in fact a race winner in F4 UAE back in 2021, was a F4 UAE champion in 2022 as well. He was also a Formula Regional Oceania champion as well back earlier on this year, so has actually managed to secure many a grand result. Can he do and improve and build on what has already been a really competitive championship? Certainly Charlie Wirtz are going to try and kickstart his season. Marcus Amand as well out on track 2. You just see him there in the maroon red livery. Of course, part of the Sauber Driver Academy, which is hence why he's donning it. Of course, another young talent back from karting who's improving all the time. Of course, RPM also represented here this time around. You see the familiar green livery that we have seen time in, time out. Santiago Ramos utilising that as he just see Charlie Wirtz go past him. Of course, Ramos, the man who would go fastest of all in collective test 1 with that 1:59.744. Be looking for much the same here. Can he put his car up to the top? Of course, that time he set in that collective test just a little bit slower than the time that was just set as well by Martinius Stenshorn. Of course, Stenshorn setting that 1:59.176. That's the time to beat here in this session. And that will decide pole position heading into the weekend as well. You know, see them make their way through the latter sector. Laurens van Hoopen is also out on track. Is that Nick de Vries in his corner as well? He's been here this weekend. Of course, been assisting the, almost like a coach to Laurens van Hoopen as they look to work together. Of course, fellow Dutchman as well. And of course, Nick de Vries recently featuring in Formula 1 as well. As we see some of the first times come in now. Charlie Wirtz fastest with a 2:13.339 in this first instance, a 1.7 second gap to Lorenzo Flusha, who sets that initial 2:15.039 as we creep into the final 9 minutes. As Michael Belov we're currently seeing on screen there as well. And also Alessandro Giusti, who had an unfortunate time in practice himself as well, was upended when he came together. The monolite, I believe it was belonging to Enzo Scianti in that particular moment, and coming unstuck, heading through the final corner at, I think heading through the final sector, should I say. And unfortunately, they brought an end to their session early, but Giusti, such an avid performer, such a great performer as well for such a young man. We also have a new driver as part of this group as well, Pierre-Alexandre Provost as well, Frenchman, who joins the grid. And is a former French F4 race winner, and only spent 6 months in karts before graduating into single-seaters. He's had 2 seasons in French F4, and had a very successful winter test program with the G4 racing team. Adrian Munoz, the team principal, was very vocal about his certainly abilities behind the wheel, and I think they got the vibe that they were going to see him at some point during the course of this season, and a great chance for us to see Pierre-Alexandre Prevost in person now here at Paul Ricard. Of course, naturally, it will take time for them to embed themselves with the car. There's Joshua Dirksen, who we're currently seeing out on track, the Paraguayan as part of the Arden Motorsport team. Picked up a P3 back at Spa-Francorchamps. In great style as well as he now makes his way through this next right-hander. And certainly a young man that tries to improve his racecraft as best he can, obviously employing the skills of a mental coach as well, just to aid him after every race weekend to always look forward and try and challenge for that next best performance. Alessandro Giusti, who's currently at the top of the timing screen of 2:10.730, makes his way through the first sector yet again. Already you've seen times come through. Pierre-Alexandre Prevost, in fact, going fastest of anyone in Sector 3. Marcus Amand as well, improving in the first sector. He's looking for a little bit extra. Giusti, though, taking that purple first sector time. It's been just stolen, though, by Michael Belov in the G4 racing camp. As we now see Giusti now make his way down the long Mistral straight before then venturing into the Mistral chicane. And again, you need to prime your braking point heading into this section, tackle the curbs as well. Makes his way through. Find every apex as well, maximise your racing line. Pierre-Alexandre Prevost, as you can see, improving there below. Michael Belov finding a bit too. Giusti, as you'd expect, purple in the second sector. It's still Belov, though. The fastest man in Sector 1 has yet to be usurped. 36.667 for Alessandro Giusti in that second sector, though, at this point. Still grants him purple at this point. A big just squeal of the tyres further back. Sounded like there might have been an off somewhere, but Giusti, no fears for him right now. 36.667 in that middle sector grants him purple at that portion of the track. We've yet to see whether Belov can improve to go higher than him, as we now see the cars make their way through Sector 3. Of course, now cruising out of Ben D'Or through Garlaban, then down through towards Virage de la Tour, now out of Virage du Pont as well. It's all on Giusti. Can he find a little bit extra? You certainly expect him to do so. Jumping up from a 2:10.730. What's he going to marshal this time? At 1:59.568. More representative, certainly now, and already getting closer to Martinius Denchon's time too. Already, though, Santiago Ramos, purple in the first two sectors. As we come down now towards the final 5 minutes, and already the times cascading downwards. Michael Belov going second fastest here as part of that G4 racing camp. So G4 representing in the top two sections. Tom Leben going third fastest. Lucas Medina fourth fastest now for the Santalok driver, as more cars now becking their way through. Santiago Ramos, the man on our screen, who's currently certainly showing an extensive purple run, heading through sectors 1 and 2. The man who went fastest in collected test 1. He's going to go fastest here in qualifying 1. Santiago Ramos now. Lawrence Van Hoopen goes first fastest now. Jumps that of Ramos by over 2.5 tenths of a second. After a stellar Sector 3 showing. Amazing stuff from Lawrence Van Hoopen. And certainly the performances you could have expected from him earlier on in the season of 59.236. And that already getting closer and closer to Martinius Denchon's time. With still time left here on the board. Belov has already started improving. He's purple in the first sector. Giusti also purple in the second sector as well. Ramos now starting yet another lap. He is just slightly slower than both that of Belov and that of Giusti in the first sector. And Lawrence Van Hoopen slower than him again, as we hear an erupted squeal coming from Michael Belov's car. The man who went purple in the first sector, not quite enough though to go faster than Giusti in the middle sector, as he now cruises through this next left-hander. Giusti still, though, finding an almighty 4 tenths on Lawrence Van Hoopen's best time. And if he carries that through, that will mean he will be on pole, or at least this group will be on pole for the race later on this afternoon. Out they come now. In comes Michael Belov. Giusti still out on track as well. We see them all running together up towards the line. The pair of them now. Giusti goes fastest immediately, breaks into the 158s, and Giusti, will he hold it? Belov second fastest. fastest. Incredible. So we've now broken into the 158s here for the first time in qualifying this weekend. It's a 158.968 for Alessandro Giusti, and the rookie, who is now part of this conglomerate now, tops the leaderboards here in Group B, and should it stay like this, will top the leaderboards here in qualifying overall. But a man we haven't said anything about so far, it's Andrea Kimi Antonelli. A 36.543 in the middle sector is a little bit over a tenth slower than Giusti in the second sector. Can he find enough though? In the final sector, across the line now, and he goes fifth fastest there, Andrea Kimi Antonelli. Not enough to jump higher than fifth fastest at this point, but with 2 minutes and 50 to go, incredible stuff indeed. Giusti now making it a 1-2 so far here for that of the G4 Racing team. And there we go. Absolutely extravagant. Kaz Havercourt fourth fastest as well. Santiago Ramos sixth fastest. Sami Megatuniv has leapfrogged him to fifth place. Lawrence Van Hoopen now third fastest. Antonelli now down to seventh, as we now watch the Italian make his way through the first sector. Of course, a man who is a regular champion at the forefront of many a series. Has done it time and time again. Just look at this history record as well. Third in the championship in 2021, racing in that of the F4 UAE, 3 podiums in Italian F4 in that first season as well, managing to scoop the championship in Italian F4 in 2022, as well as securing the ADAC F4 championship that season as well. Formula Regional Middle Eastern champion this year, and Italian GT taking 1 win in 2 visits this season already. A very, very rich talent here in the world of motorsport, and no less here in the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. We're within the final 2 minutes, and already the times have certainly shown us that there is more in the locker, certainly for these talents. Giusti, though, still holds on to the fastest lap here in this session at Paul Ricard. Comes across the line yet again, his last lap being a 2:11.709, so a cool-down run, just preparing him for the one final last chance to dance. As we get set now for the final minute and 10 that we have ahead of us. And Giusti, I'm sure, will be looking to try and marshal his very, very best for the very last minute, or the very last moments. Just see him there taking a very tight, aggressive line heading through that first section. Incidentally, the speed trap, the fastest man there is Kaz Havercourt, marching together at 2:33.2, and is in fact very, very fast down the straights indeed. So maybe favouring a lower downforce setup on this occasion here at Paul Ricard, which wouldn't be a silly idea at all, given the fact that we do have a very long straight here at Mistral, and sitting here at Paul Ricard, it opens up opportunities for overtaking as well, and certainly a best friend for the push-to-pass system as well. And many of the drivers are going to have to try and manage that effectively, as already we're seeing Tom Leben improving in the first sector. Josh Dirksen also finding time in that first sector too, so Arden working hard to try and rein in the delta. Also, Pierre-Alexandre Provost also finding time in that first sector too. Just a slightly little bit off the first sector time set by Josh Dirksen. Andrea Kimi Antonelli also improving, 32.8 in that first sector. As the checkered flag now comes down, Sami Megatuniv has just stolen the fastest first sector of all. Purple in the first sector for Sami Megatuniv. Could there be some last lap dramatics here from him? We'll have to wait and see, and what it could mean to him as well. Obviously fighting it out here at this point, and representing that the MP Motorsport team, who make their grand return here this weekend, hoping that they can achieve the big results as they always do attempt to do. A fantastic team of people they have, as well as Michael Belov crosses the line. He'll remain second fastest, but Megatuniv is obviously one to watch. Purple in the first sector, but he has gone green in that middle sector, as we now see Tom Leben come up towards the line. Can he improve from 10th fastest? Comes across 5th fastest for Tom Leben. So a grand improvement from him as well. More cars will be teeing up one final run as well. Sami Megatuniv, who we saw earlier on, remember, purple in the first sector, lost a bit of time though in the second sector, still gained time though, just not enough to leapfrog Giusti. As we see the cars peel through now, and there is the MP Motorsport car, as you can just see there, trying to find every little bit, has a little bit of traffic ahead, but I don't think it'll deter him too much. as he heads through the final corner at turn 15. What's he going to marshal? Andrea Kimi Antonelli, second fastest, as well as Megan Tuniff comes up towards the line. Where's he going to be for MP Motorsport? It's an improvement. It's second fastest for Sami Megan Tuniff. Incredible stuff. Purple in the first sector, green in the final two, managing to pull together certainly one last gasp chance here at Paul Ricard, and sets himself in behind Alessandro Giusti, who no one has been able to beat. No one else has broken into the 158. And that is absolutely extraordinary. And the checkered flag has come down upon all the cars. Alessandro Giusti will be on pole here at Paul Ricard for race 1 here at Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. What a display there from the young rookie. G4 Racing will be elated. A 158.968 to grant him his first pole position of the season. Sami Megan Tuniff in second. Andrea Kimi Antonelli in third. Lawrence Van Hoopen in fourth. Michael Belov in fifth. Kaz Havercourt in sixth. Tom Leben in seventh. Santiago Ramos in eighth. Lorenzo Flusha in ninth. Marcus Hammond in 10th, with Charlie Wirtz in 11th. Joshua Dirksen in 12th. Emerson Fittipaldi Jr. in 13th, with Lucas Medina 14th. Levente Ravesh in 15th place. And looking further down as well, Pierre-Alexandre Prevost as well, finishing in 16th place, just behind that of Levente Ravesh as well. But an amazing performance from Alessandro Giusti, and we'll find out how he gets on later on this afternoon. Join us for racing. We'll see you then.